welcome to another RSR. Tonight I'm reacting to and reviewing the 2022 Scotiabank CONCACAF League draw. The Sorteo de la Liga CONCACAF de Scotiabank 2022. Tell you what I think about these ties. I won't give a prediction. That's for later, right before the preliminary round starts. But maybe I'll give a roundabout prediction and probably I'll stick to it, but you'll get what you get. I won't totally make a prediction, but maybe I roundabout say something. I don't know. But this is the last CONCACAF League. We have just had the draw for the last ever CONCACAF League. Who will win this tournament, end it as champions? Will there be finally have a repeat? Or will we have somebody else win it? Or have a two-time champion? Not a repeat two-time champion, just have a two-time champion in general. With that being said, it'd be funny if Olympia won this tournament. That'd be a good bookend. But with that being said, preliminary round ties. We start with preliminary round 1. CD Platense of El Salvador versus Verdes FC of Belize. Verdes have been here before. They've been in this tournament 3 times. They have participated. Well, this will be their second participation. They couldn't participate in 2020 due to COVID restrictions, of course. They participated in 2021 and got stomped out by Santos de Guapoles. Not shockingly, of course. I mean, Santos de Guapoles were a pretty damn good team until they got stomped out by Forge and then NYCFC. But Verdes, they're a Belizean team. They have their moments. They could use their experience to put themselves over because Platense is a very new team compared to CONCACAF League. Their first run and probably only run, will be their only run until they have the Central American Trophy or Central American Cup. But Platense is new. They do not have the experience, but Verdes does. That could be good for Verdes. Because again, as Junior Soprano once said, you steer the ship the best way you know. Sometimes it's smooth, sometimes it's rocky. If you have the experience in CONCACAF League or CONCACAF Champions League, you have the experience to traverse those rocky waters, those stormy waters, better than a team who's new. If it's smooth, great, they make a run. If it's a capsizing boat, they're going to go down, right? So you need experience in CONCACAF. That's my point. I've been harping on that for a while. You need experience in CONCACAF to go far. Platense does not have that. Verdes does. By levels, Platense should go through. They should win this tie pretty easily. But they don't have the experience, which hurts them in the end. Next up, preliminary round 2, Costa Rica 3. Right now, that's Alajuelense. But by their playoffs are over, by July, that could be different. We'll see that once we predict the ties. But right now, it's Alajuelense as it stands versus CD Aguila of El Salvador. If it's Alajuelense, could also be Saprissa. Herediano should be CRC Costa Rica 1 because they won the Apertura. That's what Wikipedia said. They're in the tournament. I'm guessing they're 1. Clausura is 2nd. So whoever wins that, if Alajuelense wins that, they're 2nd. They're in the round of 16 automatically. But Alajuelense, last time they won the tournament, they went through the preliminary round. Alajuelense are a good team. If it is Alajuelense, if it so is, we don't know yet. That's why I can't really make predictions. But we're going to go off the assumption it is Alajuelense. They're a very good team, and they're better than Aguila. Aguila is a good team. They got here. Every so often, they do get here. I think they were here in 2019. Yes, they were in the CONCACAF League in 2019. That's the last time they were in the tournament. They've been here before. They do have experience, but again, argument's sake, Alajuelense right now, they've won this tournament before. They've had their moments. Yes, they got owned by Guasatoya last year, but I think they're going to come back in this tournament. They are qualified, no matter if it's 2 or 3, as CONCACAF has said. They're in, that's for sure. Herediano is too. It's the argument's stake for Saprissa is too, is the thing that doesn't work. But I think Alajuelense comes into this tournament wanting to prove a point. Oh, they probably will. It's going to be a tasty tie if it is Alajuelense Aguila. That'll be a tasty tie. Preliminary round 3. Real España versus Real Esteli. The battle of the Reals. Esteli has way more experience in this tournament, and they've made the CCL out of it. I have a feeling that Esteli is going to put everything into this tournament. Yes, 2020, they had some bounces that went their way to get them into the Champions League. I think this time they earn it. I really do. I really do. I have a feeling. A lot of teams, this is their moment to make a name in this tournament before it goes away. It's a fledgling tournament because of the way CONCACAF wants to do things. I think some teams want to make some names and add to their histories, and Esteli is one of those. It's going to be a very tight tie. It's going to be an enjoyable tie, but I think it's going to be something that Esteli probably puts more into than España. Preliminary round 4, Sporting San Miguelito of Panama versus Malacateco of Guatemala. Malacateco won the Apertura in Guatemala. Sporting San Miguelito, yeah, there's no Kai this year. Crazy, right? For me, it's two new teams. It's two teams that are newer in this tournament who have less experience compared to your big established names. Malacateco, I'm interested to see them play. I'm really interested to see this tie. I'm interested to see both teams play, but especially Malacateco, because how they got here, of course, they beat Comunicaciones after they won their CONCACAF League. So exactly how will this go, right? It's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting tie. Does Malacateco deserve to be here, or is Sporting San Miguelito the better side in this situation? We'll find out. Preliminary round 5. Now, this is the one I'm the biggest into. Pacific FC of Canada versus Waterhouse FC of Jamaica. Pacific should make the round of 16. They should. Under James Merriman, they got a very good team. Alejandro Huero Diaz, Kunle Dadaluk. They got a good team. Amir Didic, they got a good team. They got a very good team down there in Langford, BC. Now, they did lose to York in the Canadian Championship on penalties. It wasn't their best game. Of course, their manager changed after they won the CPL. Pa Motoka went to coach North Texas in MLS Next Pro. James Merriman, who was the interim coach after Silverbauer, got fired. I think that's the name. Before Pa Motoka became the manager, was the interim manager for a game. Now he was the assistant coach to Pa Motoka and replaced Pa Motoka. Still a good manager. Things haven't really changed for Pacific over that situation. They're still top of the CPL by 1 point over Atletico Ottawa. They were ahead by a lot a couple of weeks ago, but Ottawa's closed the gap. I still like Pacific, though. They got a good team. I respect them. They beat Forge. They deserved it. That tournament, they had Hojabrapur. They had Taron Campbell. They had Lucas McNaughton, current TFC. Caden Chung, current TFC. 2 for Forge, 2 for TFC. I've always liked those players. They left on, and they've been replaced pretty well, I have to say. Pacific is a very good team, and even though they have no experience, I think they could build off of what Forge has done. And I'd love to see them do that. I am supporting Pacific in this tournament because they're Canadian, and I want to see Pacific do well. I have no ill will towards Pacific FC. I like what they're doing. I really do. So we'll see how they do. And Waterhouse, they're a pretty good team. They got through the Caribbean Club Championship. But compared to Pacific is closer to MLS level than Waterhouse is to CPL level, I would say. So we'll see how that goes. But it's going to be interesting. Then preliminary round 6. CSD Municipal versus Atletico Vega Real. Again, we should know where this one's going. We should know. A Central American team versus a team who came out of the Caribbean Club Championship, who's a very historical team. I think we know where this is going. I have a feeling Municipal definitely would win this tie. It should go that way. Again, any experiences, any upsets could happen. It's CONCACAF. But Municipal, I think, is the stronger team. They're the bigger team. They're Más Grande Guatemala. So we'll see how that one goes. Atletico Vega Real, they'll put up a fight, I'm sure. But I don't think that's enough. So we have the preliminary round ties. Now we're on to the round of 16 ties. Round of 16-1, Tauro FC of Panama versus Sporting San Miguelito or CD Malacateco. We'll either have a Bull Derby or a Panamanian Derby in the round of 16. I think Tauro is still better than both these teams. I really do. I think, of course, both teams are going to fight. Sporting San Miguelito and Malacateco, they'll fight. But Tauro has history. They've been in the Champions League. They did lose to Forge in 2020, but I think that's more because it was a one-legged tie, and Forge did get some beneficial calls in that matchup. But I don't think Miguelito or Malacateco are better than Forge at that point. So we'll see how that one goes. But Tauro should arguably win that match, but it'll be interesting. Round of 16-2, FC Matagua of Honduras versus Sabao FC of the Dominican Republic. Matagua versus Sabao. Again, it's pretty obvious where this one's going. I think it's pretty obvious where this one's going to go. Sabao, they've had their moments, they've had history, but Matagua is Matagua. They don't bottle until the final. It would also be funny if Matagua finally won this tournament in its last version and stopped bottling. I mean, that would be good for them, wouldn't it? But we'll see. But Matagua are bottle jobs, but not in the round of 16. It's the final. So Sabao probably ain't getting through, but it's CONCACAF, so anything can happen. Round of 16-3, CD Olympia versus Municipal or Atletico Vega Real. Olympia's back from their ban being kicked out because of the Ronnie Brunsvik incident last year. And Olympia probably wants blood. They're not going to be easy to beat here. I can tell you that much. I have a feeling Olympia's probably one of the top 3 favorites to win this trophy. They won the first one, they could win the last one, and honestly, I'd love to see it. Olympia versus, and I think they're going to be on their way. No joke. They're going to be on their way after this round of 16 tie. They're a tough team. They want blood. I don't think it's a question of what happens. Round of 16-4, Diriangen FC versus Comunicaciones FC, the reigning champions. Comunicaciones may host the first leg and they have to go to Diriangen in the second. But I still like Comunicaciones' chances, and honestly, I don't think the champions curse is going to take effect against Diriangen. They would have to play Olympia. They would have to play Olympia if they win their tie, if both win their ties. That's probably where it takes effect, but not Diriangen. Not Diriangen. I like to see this tie just to see if anything crazy happens. I mean, everybody said that about Guastatoya versus Alajuelense and what happened, right? So we can see what happens. But I'm interested. I have to say. Round of 16-5. Costa Rica won, most likely Herediano. CS Herediano versus Pacific or Waterhouse. Most likely Pacific. If it is Pacific, honestly, even if it is Waterhouse, I think it's pretty obvious where it goes. If it's Pacific versus Herediano, I actually think that's winnable for Pacific. I actually think it's winnable. Compared to Alajuelense or Saprissa, I think it's winnable I think that's winnable for Pacific, having to play them. I think they could beat Herediano. Herediano's won the trophy before, but that was 2018. It's been a while. They've had their moments in CL since, but I just don't see it. I think Pacific actually has a chance to win that tie, and I'm very interested on what that would look like. And yes, I'll cover Pacific until they get knocked out, just like I would have Forge. But I'm very interested in seeing that. Next up, round of 16, number 6. Costa Rica 2, we don't know who that is yet. To me, argument's sake, that's probably Saprissa. Could be Alajuelense, not Herediano. Herediano has first, but just in case, you know. I guess maybe the aggregate record with Alajuelense is better. Maybe that's why they left it alone. But argument's sake, I say Saprissa wins the Liga because they have something to go for. Herediano and Alajuelense don't. And whoever else is there. I forgot what it was. It wasn't Zeladon, wasn't it? No. But versus Real España and Real Esteli. This is an interesting tie, you know, because you don't know who I have an idea who that Costa Rican team will be. That's my prediction, argument's sake. But it could be somebody easier, you know, and España or Esteli could take advantage of that and get through, and it could be Pacific versus one of those two. That'd be crazy. But we also could have a Costa Rican derby in the quarterfinals as well. Next up, round of 16-7, we have Alianza of Panama versus Costa Rica 3, probably Alajuelense, or CD Aguila. Yes, there's two Alianzas, and yes, we could have an Alianza derby in the quarterfinals if everything goes right. I don't think it will, because Alianza of Panama versus Alajuelense probably won't go their way. Aguila, maybe, but I still think Alajuelense wouldn't go their way. I don't think so. I do not think so, but Alianza FC of Panama. I didn't even know there was an Alianza in Panama. I kind of want for chaos the Alianza Panama, Alianza El Salvador derby, just because I want the Alianza derby. I want it. I want it for chaos. I would be more confused than a chicken with its head cut off. I want to see it just to see it. And then finally, round of 16-8, the final drawed tournament, or tie. Alianza FC of El Salvador versus Platense or Verdes. I think we know where that one's going. Mas Grande of El Salvador, Alianza FC. Versus Platense or Verdes. Yeah, I don't think that goes well for the preliminary round winner in that situation. Alianza's probably going to make easy work of them. Mincemeat, right? It's going to be an interesting tie just to see what happens, because I want the chaos of Alianza versus Alianza. I'll be really rooting for that, even if it's Alajuelense versus the Panamanian Alianza. But it's going to be interesting. I want chaos. If this tournament is the last, it is the last CONCACAF League. Since it is the last CONCACAF League, I want chaos. If Pacific can't win, I want chaos. I mean, the Alianza Derby has nothing to do with Pacific, but still, I want chaos. I want Pacific to win, and I want chaos. That's what I want to see. I want chaos and making me look like an idiot, because I'm sure some people would love that. With that being said, there's my thoughts on the CONCACAF League draw. I did a watch-along for it. You could go back and watch that one. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification once you subscribe, send super chats on the live streams, comment on this video, put this in playlist, share it with friends and family, all that great stuff. Tomorrow I'll have a live watch-along and review of Canada versus Curacao in the CONCACAF Nations League. And we still have a little bit of the international break left after that. One more leg of it. Yeah, I broke it down into 3 legs pretty much, but if you really would think about it the way I made those streams, like 5-day brackets and stuff. So, I did. But I'll see you tomorrow for the last part of the second bracket grouping I made, or the way I did it. Canada versus Curacao. I'll see you then. Hopefully Canada doesn't take a dive, but who knows, right? Who knows? Knowing Canada and what's going on, they may. So, we'll see. I'm Ryan and I'm out. Peace. Can't wait to see y'all for the CONCACAF League in July. The final tournament of what really started to blow me up. Let's see if it does it again. Old time's sake. Peace.